Aloha and welcome back to Your Relationships Reimagined, throwing your relationship with yourself under the microscope. Today we're looking at sleep and sex, and we're going to once again look at what does it take to move from your comfort zone, from that place that feels so familiar. Many of you are sleep deprived. I hear it nearly daily. Sleep deprivation has become, as Brene Brown calls it, the latest status symbol of how tired are you? How overworked are you? How maxed out are you? Let us shift the drift, folks. Let's step out of the norm of culture, which is suffering, which is sleep deprived, which is don't have the energy for my relationships. There's too much negativity going on. When we don't get enough sleep, we are not firing on all cylinders. We do not have full command of our nervous system because we are operating from a deficit. So we're going to look at sleep first, and then we're going to look at sex. These two S's are very, very important in your relationship with yourself, as well as if you are partnered, how that shows up in your relationship with your beloved. Today, we're going to focus on the relationship with yourself. So let's look at sleep with the 4 distinctions of an extraordinary life serving as our backbone. Remember what they are? Trust, focus, repair, and faith. First thing, trust yourself. Trust yourself regarding sleep. What does that mean? It means a couple of things. Trust yourself that you're going to get enough sleep, that there is such a thing as being well rested. I think we've forgotten that that's entirely possible, that that's actually an indicator of a good life, that that's actually an indicator of self-care, that putting in more hours at the office doesn't get us where we want to go. For a lot of us, our offices are in our home. My bedroom's right there. I can see my bed. So the temptation to work, it's always screaming at me. Or it could be a little whisper and I could say, oh yeah, aren't I grateful? How do I maximize the potential of not having to commute, being able to spend quality time at my office and quality time in my bed for sex and sleep instead of worry and suffering. So we get to become CEO of our own lives. In the last video here, I talked about stepping into your queendom or stepping into your kingdom. And I don't care if you're male or female listening to this, you need to step into both. It's about finding that way of integrating sacred femininity, sacred masculinity. What I mean by that in a nutshell, it's a very deep conversation we could have. But for today, I just want to say briefly, it's about being able to exert and retreat. Exhale, inhale, produce, rest, all of those things. So step into your kingdom, step into your queendom by recognizing that sleep is one of the most important things you need. So to trust yourself, I want you to think about what you're willing to commit to in terms of a bedtime. Trust yourself that you will make that just as important as your wake time. In fact, set your alarm to go to sleep at night. Crazy, I know. Turn off social media, turn down the screens, put on your blue blocker lenses if you're on the computer after dinner time, to let go of those rays that are messing with your brain chemistry. And really prepare yourself for sleep, almost as if it were a child needing routine, right? We read a bedtime story, we take a bath, we do lotion and oils, we decompress. And I suggest that this decompression start before dinner and then unfold naturally with the quality of light. Let yourself rest. Give yourself that permission and follow these guidelines for good sleep hygiene. We need, at minimum, 6 hours of sleep a night. We need, for operating efficiently, 7.5 hours of sleep at night. For those restorative nights when we're metabolizing grief, stress, travel, big life events, wintertime, kind of hibernating season, whatever that is, go for 9. When we start going shorter than 6 or greater than 9, we're looking at, whoa, is there some underlying depression going on? Are there some other sleep issues at hand? We really get to look at those. And again, I encourage you to seek help in your local community. If you're having trouble finding help, email me, help@amyelizabethgordon.com, and we'll get you taken care of. Sleep is really important. The reason I say 6 to 7.5 to 9 hours is because we sleep in 1.5-hour increments. And with our REM cycle and everything that our brain needs to file the day's events in the hippocampus and the different sections of the memory, the body needs that, the liver needs that to detox. I've suggested in our talk on food and drink that you shut the kitchen down after dinner and don't pick it up for at least 12 to even 15 hours later to give yourself that intermittent fast. These are all helpful things to help you sleep. Getting exposure to natural daylight during the day, getting outside for a minimum of a 20-minute walk, doing these sorts of things sets you up for success around sleep. We must rest. There's a lot more I could say about that, but for a nutshell, I want you to trust yourself around sleep and set a bedtime. For me, my 9 to 5 is not going to the office at 9 and getting done at 5, though I tend to do that on certain days of the week here in my home office. My new 9 to 5 that I really focus on is 9 o'clock in bed, 5 o'clock wake up. That gives me a half hour or so to read, to write in my love notebook with my husband. We keep a notebook and we write down things that we like about each other. One of our guests in the League of Extraordinary Couples shared that with us, and it's a wonderful practice. It's a reflection time. Think about what went well in your day, the WWW. With my sons, we do gratitudes. When they were young, we did the rose, thorn, and rosebud. The rose is, what did you love about your day? The thorn is, what is the hard part that you wish hadn't happened? And the rosebud is, what is that you're looking forward to tomorrow? These are wonderful reflections, regardless of your age. The rose, the thorn, the rosebud. So that leads right into the focusing on your life, your sleep. I need to remind myself of this because I historically have told myself the story that I need my husband to go to bed at the same time as me and to wake up at the same time as me. It's one of our, shall we say, perennial power struggles. I was just talking about it yesterday. When I focus on him and what he's doing, I am needing to love up some part of myself that needs to reestablish that focus on me, to reestablish that trust of my own word, to be impeccable with my own word. I am an early riser. Life is beautiful pre-dawn. The yoginis call it the ambrosial hours. It's the perfect time for my cold shower, for my dry skin brushing, for my yoga practice, for meditation, for my nature walk. I have Mauna Kea right there, the Ohia Lehua trees beckoning me outdoors. The bird song rouses my spirit. I love waking early. So I know myself. I know that I'm a, what do you call those? Lark, an early riser. My husband perhaps is a night owl. He prefers to stay up later and stay in bed. I get to let him have his experience in life. And I say that with great tenderness for my own heart right now, because I forget that repeatedly. And it bears repeating to focus on myself. Anytime I want somebody else to change, I want the boys to go to bed sooner. I want so-and-so to wake up sooner. It's like, focus right here, right now in my own hula hoop. Repair. How do I repair those times when I don't get the ideal amount of sleep? Because you know what? It happens. In fact, it happened last night. I use the practice of Ho'oponopono, which is a practice we do here in Hawaii. You've perhaps heard me talk about it before. It's a very simple practice that I am giving you just the nutshell version of it, which is something I carry with me. Hand to the heart. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Amy, I'm sorry we didn't get enough sleep last night. I'm sorry we ate fried fish and French fries, which got my liver roused up at 2 a.m. Forgiving myself when I wake up instead of beating up on myself for not being able to sleep and being fearful that I'm not getting the sleep. Two entirely different choices. Choosing aloha, the way of compassion, love, mercy, and kindness toward myself, versus pilakia, the trouble of any kind, the drama, the trauma of, oh my God, I'm up at 2 a.m. I'm going to need to get more sleep because I have this big day planned tomorrow. And I don't know if you hear the change in my voice. That is the precursor of the itty bitty shitty committee waking up. The itty bitty shitty committee, the IBS, also affects the IBS in my body, the irritable bowel syndrome. I can't digest life properly. I can't store the memories. And it starts a vicious cycle of not being able to sleep when I get wigged out about not sleeping. So the importance of repair regarding sleep is not to be underestimated. When I wake up without a full night's sleep, I get to remind myself that I can handle this. It's short term. If I have a chance, I take a 20-minute nap later in the day. If when I wake up during the middle of the night, I have a good book, a nonfiction book, a fiction book. I read a lot of nonfiction. If I have a fiction book, which I had last night when Crawdads Sing, I started reading that and I was able to get back to sleep fairly quickly. It was blessed good news. When I can't get back to sleep quickly, I need to calm my nervous system down. I get the opportunity to step into Command Central, and so do you. One way to do that is through your breath and practicing gratitude. I invite you to use the A to Z gratitude practice. Grateful for apples, grateful for bananas, grateful for carrots. I'm grateful for dates. I'm grateful for Everett, my son. It doesn't have to all be fruits. Think about what you're grateful for. And I'll tell you what, I very rarely get to X. If I do, I remember Zinnia, but I usually fall asleep because my breathing slows down. I tap into that parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest aspect of my nervous system. If I can't, I use a 1-minute breathing practice. This is a Kundalini yoga practice that I invite you to practice building up to. The 1-minute breath means a 20-minute inhale, a 20-minute pause at the peak of inhalation, and a 20-minute exhale. I had to build up to that, and the way I best accessed that 1-minute breath was while I was horizontal. Something about being on my back really helped me take that deeper breath in, pause, and then fully release. And another helpful hint around that is to really take a deep exhale before I take the inhale, because the better quality of our exhale, the better the inhale. So I'm giving you some breathing exercises. This helps with our whole brain neurochemistry. I know a lot of you are requesting from me more neuroscience. How does the brain chemistry meld with spirituality? It's so brilliantly interwoven, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity to influence your mind and help you see that you can work with your sleep. The final step around that is faith. Knowing that I don't have to figure out every day, how much sleep do I need? What time should I go to bed? Oh, I really want to watch this Netflix show or whatever. It's like falling into the rhythm, surrendering into the rhythm, surrendering into the success of my life that, gosh, when I'm in bed by 9, life is good. I really do feel energized the next day. And those times when I stay up late, few and far between, they're oftentimes not worth it. I've come to think through the movie, think through the late nights. Just like when I was drinking and trying to stop drinking, I got to think through the drink. Is that really going to get me where I want to go? And since I brought that up, I will go ahead and mention many clients work with issues around sleep, and they want to take Ambien or Trazodone or Tylenol PM, something like that. An external supplement, external pill, external substance is what I meant to say, to get to sleep is a stopgap measure. I see it as a crutch, a bridge. It is not a long-term, viable, sustainable, renewable solution, in my opinion. Again, I'm not a doctor. I am a holistic health practitioner. I look at the bigger picture, and gratitude gets me a lot farther than a pill. Other people work with their drinking, their social drinking to help them fall asleep. They have a few beers, they have a few glasses of wine, a mixed drink, and then they think, oh, that helps me fall asleep. And I say, great. Does it wake you up at 2 a.m.? Most of them say, yeah, because I have to pee. And I'm like, yeah, and it's also your liver detoxing. And if you drank to numb out the worries of the day, or, to avoid the direct experience of life, there's a good chance it's going to keep you up. And then you may find yourself tired the next day and want to drink because you're uncomfortable, and it starts that vicious cycle again. So again, we're throwing the relationship you have with yourself under the microscope, asking you to step out of the comfort zone and be willing to stretch into a new behavior. Stopping social media, stopping late night binging on Netflix or late night work, really allowing yourself rest would be a stretch I would recommend. We're going to talk about sex. Sex as an important relationship with yourself. Having that first distinction of an extraordinary life, which is trust. Trust that you know how to pleasure yourself. Trust that you don't have to turn to your partner to get that pleasure. Trust that you don't have to turn to something outside of yourself to feel that release, to feel the endorphins, to feel the oxytocin, to feel the orgasm of life. Some people I know get that thrill while being in nature, doing a yoga practice, taking a deep breath. There's a God particle, a God molecule. Take a Google search on that if you're curious. It's beyond the scope of my understanding. Actually, I've had the experience of it, but I can't really put words to it. The pleasure of being okay in my own skin, self-massage, self-pleasure, self-exploration, of not rejecting one single inch of my body, my mind, or my spirit, has been incredibly healing and transformative in my life. And from this place, I am able to show up in my sex relations with my beloved, committed, monogamous husband in a way where we're going places I've never been before in terms of release of control, surrender. And there are times where I feel that tight contraction and that gripping, pinching, controlling behavior, because I come from a lot of sexual trauma. And I am in a place now of recognizing that that is a small part of me that I get to nurture and tend to. And there's a bigger part of me that is open to receiving, open to pleasure, open to giving pleasure and receiving pleasure. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So trust yourself to bring your full self into the act of sex with yourself, with your partner. In that, I want you to focus, the second distinction, on your whole self being your mind, your heart, and your soul. Are they all in the same room at the same time? This is a key indicator of whether your sex relations are wholesome, helpful, honoring of yourself and other. Is your whole self there? Can you focus and bring your whole self there? Anytime I want my partner to change during sex, I get to bring my attention back to myself, take a deep breath. What do I need to do to release on a deeper level? Sex is not just a physical act for me. It's a mental act of really letting go of the constant parade of thoughts that I have, inviting spirit in to bring me to a higher place. It is experimenting with different ways of being. Sometimes sex is this, sometimes it's this, sometimes it's making love. There are different flavors to it. And I'm so grateful to have a partner that I can explore that with. I hope you have that too. If not, find that with yourself and open up to the possibility that you too are deserving of love, connection, and pleasure. If there's been a lot of injury, repair. Ho'oponopono, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm saying this now to every cell in my being. My body has been through a lot. And here we are. Here I am. Here you are. Let's go. Repair, repair, repair. There are wounds. Part of this human journey, this trajectory of life is we step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. We have strange sexual interactions. Some of us experience more traumatic things than others. I know that can be a heavy load. It can feel like part of my soul going away, but I can retrieve that and come back and be whole and be here and be holy. That brings us to faith. knowing that the sexual act is part of life, having faith that I can surrender into the everyday magic of my body, of my partner's body, of the feel of the breeze on my skin, the massage of nature, the smell of the flowers, the orgasmic quality of a sneeze, how to have faith that life is good. Sometimes it means turning off the news, turning off the Me Too movement, and recognize, yeah, I've been through a lot and I don't feel like casting shame, blame, or criticism right now. I want to regroup and then re-engage and see how my experience can benefit others. I had the great good fortune of working with a woman this morning who's been through a lot with alcohol, drugs, and dysfunctional sex. And to help her regain a holistic relationship with herself is a way to stop that continual journey of trauma towards her daughter, healing her relationship with her mother. We all affect each other. There's an interconnectedness there. Have faith that when you can really show up in your life in a wholesome way and focus on your relationship with yourself, you are actually being a point of presence and light on this planet, because you matter and your relationships matter. Thank you for tuning in. I'd love for you to reply to this email, reply to this message, and reach out to me and let me know what you got from this. I gave you a lot of information. I hope you took notes. If not, watch it again. Reach out. Let me know what landed with you and what you're willing to experiment with in your life. Aloha and be well.